Yo, this is the weekend turn up with Sam Turpin. I want to send a big shout out to Sports Scene, big shout out to Adidas for nicing me up.
Check. I remember quite a time when depression had me still, lying in my bed all the day. I had no will. I couldn't get up, not for a bird in the sky, for the people I did like. And so now you wonder why, cause when I lost my mother, it's all but disappeared.
Grew up in Emmarentia, Johannesburg, which is like it's a suburb just north of the city.
Music program, and so then I made a beat. Big tremendous feat for this lover of the rhythm. It's still on my first EP. Now imagine that could.
My musical influence came from my parents. Actually, were always playing, like, in retrospect, very good music when I was very young. So we're talking like Miriam Makeba, Abdullah Ibrahim, Nina Simone, all these greats that I just grew up around me, thinking that this is normal.
No wonder how your enemies creep. Don't do them dirty, just abide by the way. What goes around, it comes around, true say.
And so I suppose inadvertently it gave me like a heightened taste slightly for a kind of arts that music can be. And I always saw it as an avenue of expression because very fortunately my parents encouraged art. My mother was a photographer.
And messing people over, well, it's true as life is short. And trust me, they're not sober, everybody has their vices.
And I always knew rap music as a form of expression just because of how big it got when I was still very young. And in Johannesburg at the time it was also quite big. It was a huge subculture that I was welcomed into.
Like a melangerie of hate, I'ma stay practicing love. Easy come and easy go, grateful for every show. And I'm never gonna slow the pace at which I go.
My mother passed away when I was 16, and the depression was so bad that I stopped entirely, not just music, but everything. And I went about a year without doing anything, and it was just bad. And I remember one point I was at my cousin's house, and I was just laying there. It was about a year after she passed, and there was literally nothing to bring me into life, you know. I was just there, and then for some reason, this song just came in my head. I can't even describe it. And I just turned around and I saw a computer there, and I opened it. I opened the program, and I just made this beat that was in my head. And I looked outside, and it was like a huge park or garden, and I was imagining all these birds, and I was like, so this song is about cranes. Because it's literally, a crane is like so majestic and free, and that's, I suppose, what I needed in my life at the time. And so I made the song that.
Check it out,
It was like the first time I felt excitement in a long time, and I ran out to the park and pulled out my phone and I just wrote the song. And I was like, okay, cool. If I don't do this as a thing, I'm just gonna be sad again and just lay in there.
What you think happens to dreams deferred? My sunken self sitting back, thinking about the world, reconciling all my dreams. How my
like, hey, I'm focused on this project now. I'm gonna do a video. I wrote down the idea for the video, went and shot the video, got a few shows that even that same week that I was recording and shooting the video, and just then that was Cranes, and that's on my first project.
Shark Tank Snake said I can't, man, my morals interact with the way you need to act. Step on all these toes and thrive just to get these shows and die, but I can't run a mile on a track that isn't mine, so I cry. Yes, it's fine, beat my chest in my
In the industry, the whole project meant that I had something to now give to people and say, okay, let me perform because I have this. You know, let me do this because I have this. When you have a product, and this was the first product I had, something I could package and say, this is me, this is what I'm doing. So I sent it out to some blogs, I sent it out to some shows, and then I've just been going from there. But my blueprint in terms of my mind was always my background.
Biologic animals, rape, murder, war, peace, stay consistent, at least heading east, play a show with my fam in Tokyo. Honest bro, I'm living, yo. I made my choices though.
It started to be like, okay, because of that song, now people know, okay, this is who Sam Turpin is. But I wouldn't say it blew me up or anything like that. But there was one moment after I did the video, I was still in high school, in my last year of matric, and I'm sitting there in math class, and I'm surrounded by all these people, and I was just bored, and then my phone went beep beep. It was a tweet, and it was some fashion designer who was like, yo, check this out, this is dope. And I was like, wow. And I looked around at all these people who didn't care, you know, and I was like, well, whatever, my life is this now.
Now I leap to the deep end. Brave heart have been bled. There's no secret I've seen death. Can't be scared I've been there.
Again, at the time, I didn't have anything to lose. I almost didn't finish school because of the depression. So this actually, the fact that it gave me that excitement, it actually motivated me to also work hard at school. To wake up every day and be like, hey, if I don't go out there and do A, B, and C, I remember what it was like being sad, and I don't want that to be my life. So I just had to go with it. So it wasn't difficult managing. And also, I wasn't the type to like party a lot or to chill. There was a time in my life where I would just be with friends and eat food and watch television.
Of course, storms and grey skies, about a part of life. Free your being from resisting and the blessings be all night. So I'ma be your right, sure I'll never need to fight, like riding through the beats.
In terms of the industry though, it was tricky at first because I didn't have anyone really to guide me. Especially no one tells you about the kind of things that people say and deals and who knows who, and all of that stuff was actually quite daunting. And I did make one or two mistakes here and there, but that's how you learn. It's a whole bunch of us that do music. It's an ensemble, it's a collective, it's all of the above, and we've become friends through that in real life. So in some ways, that's my little structure of people.
Feeling kinda low, been a while since I kissed you. Wanna catch the train, come and visit cause I missed you. Oh, it's so impulsive, what is love to define? This action, crazy.
I actually think most of what I've released, in fact, I've released 3 projects up until this point, solo projects. And the first one was the one that Cranes was on. It was my first musical endeavors. And so I'm always going to be happy with that. The second one, I tried to outdo myself and get a bit more creative. So I also can't be mad at that. The third one, again, because I'll never do a project if it's not better than the last one. And the third one, which was my mixtape 4 AM in Jersey, was my first full length. And it was where I was at the time. I had to get it out. So it might not have been like perfectly mixed or mastered or anything, but again, I didn't have anything to lose and I had to do it. So it's even because of those projects that I'm sitting here today.
Wispy clouds that look like a painting, a crane in the sky at the station. I'm waiting the 4 o'clock train that she said she'd be on. Got some coffee in the bag and some food if she want. For the long walk back on the cobblestone road, city lights flashing bright in the puddles going home. I saw her in the crowd and my face lit up, pushing through all of the masses. If I slipped, then what? But I made it alright to embrace her in my arms after 2 long years. Man, this moment is a charm. Never felt another like it. Remember every detail as we stroll.
I suppose the biggest lessons I've learned from that is not to rush things. Because if you rush things, you get something that you might not like in 3-4 years' time. To be able to have that foresight requires time, it requires refinement. And so I've had to learn to implement that as opposed to just, okay, cool, I need to do A, B, and C to get blah, blah, blah. It's more now, what's this art actually going to do once it's out there in the universe?
Don't worry about them people now, show them that you were a crowd.
I don't particularly have one specific artist that say, okay, I want you on my project, because I feel like we're all human. And so it depends what you can bring to the table musically. If I'm in a room or a studio with somebody and they're just coming with something very cool originally by themselves, it doesn't really matter who they are. We're going to get you on the song. So yeah, again, we've got some amazing collaborations in the pipeline. You just have to stay posted.
Wispy clouds that look like a painting.
So I had actually just moved out at home for the first time, and now I had a place in Bram that I was renting. And it was my first time living so close to the city, not in the suburbs. So I was in this almost like new world in terms of my day-to-day sensory experiences. And I tried to get that in the music somehow. But what was interesting was because I was studying university at the same time, I was up a lot at night because I had assignments and music to do. So I would see a lot of the nighttime things and hear those things. So all of those sounds and ongoings would just come to me. And then when I wanted to compose new music, that's how I got it out. But at the time I was still just like chopping samples, doing very minimal drums and all this stuff like you can hear in the project. It's quite minimal because it's just me sitting in that tiny flat on my laptop trying to make this project.
A crane in the sky at the station. I'm waiting the 4 o'clock train that she said she'd be on. Got some coffee in the bag and some food if she want. For the long walk back on the cobblestone road.
Currently I'm working on my next solo project, but it's still very early stages. I don't know what it's going to be, but we've got 2 singles out now, 3 singles actually. and an amazing music video that my homegirl Katja directed. So we're still pushing those. I'm going to perform some of them today. And then my crew, the Charles Jean Suite, we're coming with singles, videos, albums. I'm also part of a duo called Cold Chinese Food. That's also got an album on the way. So we're just very blessed to be in this immersive community of creation.
City lights flashing bright and the puddles going home. I saw her in the crowd and my face lit up.
So I'm on all social media platforms, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Just search for Sam Turpin. You can search also for the Charles Jean Suite for Cold Chinese Food. Our stuff is on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud, everywhere you go.
Pushing through all of the masses. If I slipped, then what? But I made it.